Kelly, the stocks of the institutional owners of single-family rental homes have just been taking a huge hit because President Trump just posted on social media that record high inflation has pushed Americans out of the dream of home ownership, especially younger Americans. And he said, it is for that reason and much more that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes. And I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more, at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. Now, the key in that statement is that he would need Congress to pass something like that. But it's important to note large institutional investors, and the biggest names are Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent, and Progress Residential. It should be known they own less than 5% of all single-family rental homes in the U.S.
Stop the cap.
Come on, CNBC.
Stop the cap.
Push buyers out in those areas. But the vast majority of rental homes are owned by small to mid-sized landlords, mom-and-pop shops. But again, you can see those stocks are taking a huge hit on that, Kelly.
Yeah, down 5-6%. So, Diana, this was a post on Truth Social. So We'll wait more detail. I imagine, private equity obviously has a huge component of this, and they've had a lot of friendly policies from the administration, including things like changing who can access them, trying to get them into 401k plans and so forth. Nevertheless,
Trump came out yesterday and said, you know what, we're going to ban these large institutions for buying housing. This is one of the reasons why housing prices is high. During COVID, these private equity firms went on a run. They were outbidding everybody. Did not matter the price. They was buying up properties. What does that do, though? It raised the properties. It raised how much they were worth, obviously, right? So Trump is like, if we take them out, now we can have real people buy real houses. What that does is it takes another person out that can buy and brings the home prices down. See, people think that is one thing that can change the housing market. It's a multiple of things. Getting rid of illegal immigrants. Got it. Now we got to stop the institutional buyers from buying up all the houses. Got it. Bring the interest rates down. Cool. Then we can get housing supply, right? This is just the first step to bring the housing prices and markets down. This is great because what these big institutional buyers were doing, they were just buying everything and overpaying. So what does that do for the market? It raises it higher, 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 and higher. This is why you see now that these investors and these private equity firms, their stocks is taking a hit. It's because this is bad news for them. So what you're going to start seeing from them is you're going to see a mass sale. So what we need for them to do is start selling. So now you can flood the market with inventory. When you flood the market, simple supply and demand, bring the prices down. To make home ownership affordable, we have to have multiple things happen. It's not just one thing. But one thing I have to say is about President Trump. So everybody was saying he gonna make the people rich and all of that. If he was about that, what you guys are saying, he wouldn't have done this. But he needs to make home ownership affordable. Home ownership is really how you can get out the ghetto and be living in the suburbs. Because of what? Equity. Your equity is what makes you rich. Because I have my equity, I can sell. So now I can sell and get this house. And what does that do? Move you out of neighborhoods. But during COVID, it was a mass buy by them. They were outbidding everybody. That's why the prices just kept going higher and higher. It's because they have long money. These are billion-dollar companies. I can't compete with them. No regular home buyer. It doesn't matter if you have an FHA. Doesn't matter if you have conventional. These guys were paying cash. You can't compete with that. So this is why Trump is like, I'm going to ban them. So hopefully we have Congress on board, which I think we will because we have the majority. They'll be on board and they'll push this through because home buying is for real people. If real people aren't buying it, it makes no sense. It needs to be for real people that could be able to start, build their wealth, own a home. And that's the reason why we need to ban the institutional investors. Is there a problem if I'm a person myself and I have multiple properties and I'm built? That's not a problem because why? I don't have access to the funding like these investors. These guys have billions. As a person that's trying to build up my portfolio, I will never overpay for property. There's no point. It doesn't make money for me if I go to a property and overpay. I will always underpay. What these institutional investors were doing, they were overpaying. They were pushing the market because they got billions to waste. They got billions to spend. They have to spend it. That's the difference between them buying all the houses and the difference between me starting my real estate portfolio. I'm never going to overbuy. I'm never going to pay over the market. When they started doing that, that's where the problem lies. That's the reason why prices are so high. It's because of the institutional. So then they want to say, oh, well, it's they only have 5%. Come on now. We know they got way more. But the thing is that they do it in major cities. Look at LA. Look at San Francisco. Look at Chicago. Look at New York. Look at Florida. What happens when you have bad policy in California? Everybody moves where? Las Vegas. Property values went up, right? Owners and investors were buying up Vegas. Then, oh, okay. Now they're going to be moving to Tennessee. Investors will go to Tennessee, buy up everything in Tennessee. Dallas, Houston. They're everywhere. It's because they have the money, right? So this is why you have to pay attention to what's going on. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be one way to take out or bring housing down. It's going to be a multiple ways. This is the first step, and I like it, though. So y'all can't say nothing about Trump, man, because he really care about y'all. Get off that Trump deranged syndrome and be like, oh, man, I don't like him because it's Trump. He's over here saying, I'm going to ban large institutional investors. You know who that means? That means Blackstone. Let's see who else. I'm looking at my thing. Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent, and Blackstone stocks fell sharply after the announcement. He don't care about the money they missing out. They got billions. They good. He got to make sure that we got money. Because you know why? If we don't own a home, if we're broke, if we can't get a job, who are we going to vote for? We're going to vote for the party that's promising that they will give us everything for free. Smart, bro.
This shows you the administration is doing anything it can. I'm sure it's had 30 different proposals for how it can lower housing prices. They've probably heard 50-year mortgage. We hear various reasons why that wouldn't make much difference.
I like the 50-year mortgage, especially if you're trying to build your real estate portfolio.
I guess that's hard to do. You know, change the capital gains tax. Fine. They seem to be choosing, of all things, this one, and we'll see how much a difference that makes. But for these business
they're not
models,
necessarily choosing just this one, Kelly.
Right.
Look, they went after the builders in December, and you may remember that when he said that he was going to force the builders to build more homes, and he was calling them all to Washington to do that. And he did call many of the CEOs of the big public home builders. Their stocks took a hit as well on that, but then nothing came of it because they found, like, what could Fannie and Freddie, which is what he wanted them to do, what could they do to spur more home building? Not. They're in the mortgage market. So could you lower mortgage rates and get more demand, and that would help them build more homes? But again, it's all in the details. And right now, the details are very scarce. How would you get these large institutional investors to stop buying homes? It would take an act of Congress or something. But remember, these are very big companies with, very strong ties to the administration, especially when you talk about something like Blackstone.
I love CNBC. We know what they are, liberal, but they have good information. It's a good thing to talk about and see the other side's point of view. What I would say with this, they're going to push this through. They're going to make it happen. But what's going to happen is these large investment private equity firms, what they're going to do, they're going to sell a good chunk of their homes to flood the market. I believe Trump's going to have a conversation with them and say, look, you guys got to get off of some of that inventory. Because right now they're not making money off the inventory. People can't afford shit, right? So they gotta sell. If they trying to get their numbers right, balance their books for 2026 to make it look like they're super profitable and all this, they have to sell. This is why I tell people, man, when you got kids, keep your kids in the house with you. Don't have them go out and rent these things that they paying too much money for they can't afford. This is why it's important for you to keep your kids, live together. This is why I respect the Latino community, because they all live together, right? The less people that are renting, and what you're seeing, people don't want to rent no more. People are moving back in with their parents. That's good. What does that do? That forces these private equity firms to sell, and they're going to sell. You're going to see a good mass exodus of their portfolio. They're going to sell probably, I would say, 25 to 33% of their portfolio just to get it off the books. But what that does is it floods the market. And then what does that do? Bring prices down even more. Like I said, there's steps to bringing home ownership back. Because if you say, okay, just cut the rate. If you cut the rate, now the prices stay high. We need supply. If we can't build it, we need these guys to get off of that supply and put it back into the market and bring the pricing down. The more supply you have, the cheaper it will be for people to actually buy, and they can afford it. That's how you beat affordability. You need supply. So if we're saying we can't build, if we're saying we can't do that right now, okay, let's flood the market with supply that these private equity firms have. This is why you got to be smart and understand business. This is why y'all in school take economics. Only way the housing crisis would be solved, which is what he would do. He needs supply. We can't wait to build. We got to put pressure on the institutions that own a lot of these real estate properties in these major cities. Push it out. Because what do you mean? I'm attacking the major cities first. Why would you attack the major cities first? Okay, cool. So if this institutional investment firm owns, let's say I live in LA, they own 20,000 units, right? They own it outright. Okay, cool. I don't care what's happening. I care about what's happening in LA. I don't care what's happening in, let's say, an outer city in middle of nowhere like Menifee, California. I don't care what's happening in Menifee. I don't want the prices to go down. I want the prices to go down in LA. Why? Because what's going to happen is if their prices go so much lower than Menifee, where are the people going to move from Menifee back to LA? Because it's cheaper. People move because of price. Oh, I can live in LA now. So then what happens to the prices in Menifee? Their prices drop too. So you need supply. So whether that's building, which we can't do right now, probably not, but it's supply from these institutions. I'm telling you, if you need just ways in life, bro, just follow your boy. All right. Well, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to see all the new videos. Appreciate the support, man. Keep the comments coming. What else we got? We got Go Getter Patreon coming soon. The website coming soon. My personal website, working on that. And then what else we have? We have the morning show, the No Filter daily morning show. Hopefully that starts up next week. But we just working, man. Keep working. Educate yourself. Don't listen to what people are saying. Do your research, or you can just watch me. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real and no filter. I'm out.